Hi, everyone. Hi, and welcome. Hi, IAAH Radio Plus. Thanks for joining me here today, my subscribers, followers, and tuning in on IAAH Radio Plus. Thank you so much. We are celebrating. We are about to kick off 250 years here in the United States. Happy birthday to America this weekend. I unfortunately won't be here live for you, but I am taping and uploading this so that you all can get a little bit of Know Your Truth, the Real Talk this week, since last week was court affairs. Go check that out. It was on alimony. Ooh, it was really good. Go see what you can check out on that. If you're married or not married, or intend to become married or getting divorced, that show, Court Affairs. Go check that out. Last week was on alimony, about the ring. Yeah, when the ring comes off. You go check that out on my YouTube channel. It's pretty cool. So this week on Know Your Truth, Real Talk, I'm coming ahead with these relationships shows all over again. And this one's on relationships, love at first sight. Who would have known, right? Because love at first sight ain't always right. And this is a singles edition. So if you're single out there and you need to know the know-and-know, come here to my channel, JudgeDesire for Knowledge, TV Talk Radio for Know Your Truth, Real Talk, and I'll help you guys out. I do it for couples, singles, marriages. I'm not a coach, but I like to give experiences of things I've seen in relationships in court, outside of court, life experiences, work experiences, and I bring it together here, and I create my content doing so. So I thank you all for joining me and listening to this content, which is very juicy stuff sometimes. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do creating it. So on this week on relationships, love at first sight, I decided to do this content because we hit summer, didn't we, just a few days ago? And normally when we hit summer, that's the time that all the singles are coming out and greeting and going to events and hoping to meet someone. Some are and some aren't, and some may, even if they're not. So I just figured I'd just bring together some information you might need before you consider certain people, and how you can tell or detect certain things out of people to get those red flags before you get into long-term relationships or even short-term relationships that aren't worth your time. Who wants to waste time here on earth with people that's not worth it? No, none of us. And we try to consider everyone worth it, right? But sometimes people are tricksters, narcissists, and all kinds of things. Gold diggers, they're all out there, whether they're females or males. And I won't say which one I think is the most, but you know, if you know, you know. But either way, it's summertime, and that's when outdoors events happen, right? And many of those who are single are always looking for that special someone before winter. Am I lying? Let's talk about love at first sight versus real love first. And what we're going to talk about is how everybody loves the idea of love at first sight. Who doesn't, right? And you see somebody across the room, the music starts playing, and you're like, oh man, everything goes slow motion. The time is just right, right? Meanwhile, in real life, the same person they might have many bills, a complicated ex, a complicated life, a terrible attitude, and don't talk to me before my coffee warning label. You know what I mean? But we call that chemistry, right? The question is that love? Okay, because that's what we're doing today. Is it love, or is that your imagination doing overtime? So these are the things you need to consider when you're looking or not even looking. And it happens, you know, sometimes for people it's love at first sight. So love at first sight is usually about the feeling, the attraction, the fantasy. We all get that. You see what you want to see, though. All right, you meet somebody and your brain says, this is the one. Ta-da. And you don't know their character yet. I mean, make that make sense. You don't even know. You don't know how they handle stress. You don't know how they treat other people who disagrees with them. You just know, hey, they look good in that outfit, right or wrong, or their body look tight. A lot of people fall in love with the representative and not the person. So be very careful with people representing who they're not. I've seen it. I've been through it before. and I've seen it happen to a lot of people I know. Everybody sends their best employee to the first interview. This is like what it represents. So the first date is basically a job interview where everybody lies professionally. Am I right or wrong? Yeah. The popular sayings on these things is usually I'm easygoing. That's what people say when you meet people that you're attracted to at first sight. But the translation to that I'm easygoing is usually I lost my temper twice this week, but I'm okay today. Now, when you hear people say, these are another popular communication, I love communication. Translation to that will be, I'll text you 100 times if you don't answer. So be very careful of what people say to you, okay? Take that air, open it up. Listen, truly listen, not with your heart. Listen here in your brain, all right? The problem with the first spark, we're going to check that out. The first attraction can be powerful, okay? So like these stars behind me and these fireworks, that's the same thing that happens in attraction. But attraction is not the same thing as compatibility. So you can have chemistry without someone who is completely wrong for you, okay? Be wary of those things, okay? A lightning bolt is exciting, but you don't build a house under lighting, do you? None of us do. We hope not. We may have once, but we learn our lessons and we move forward. That doesn't mean you failed, people. I just wanted to say this, folks, because we've all done it where you think you failed. You didn't fail. You learned a lesson. You learned that lesson and you consider it a lesson, not a failure. And then you can move on to better things and better people. Whether it's in your career or your life, your personal life, you have to look at it that way, positive. Keep it positive because it truly isn't what you think. It's not a failure. Just gonna leave it there because I'm gonna do a show on that soon. I'm the host with the most. All right, JudgeDesire for knowledge. Okay, all right, let's get moving here because some people get confused with things like I can't stop thinking about you. And they get that confused with a lot of things in life. So when some people confuse I can't stop thinking about you with are you good for me, those are not the same things. Those are two different things. When you're thinking about I can't stop thinking about you and versus are you good for me, these two different things. A mature person is going to think the latter, are you good for me, instead of I can't stop thinking about you. No. Sometimes you can't stop thinking about someone because they are confusing, inconsistent, or emotionally unavailable. So you're going to think that you can't stop thinking of them because they're not really there. They're not going to be there. They show up when they need to show up. Your brain is not always saying true love. Sometimes your brain is saying, figure this mystery out. And that's where we have to sit with that. I know it sounds complicated because everybody wants it to be more than just what we see it first love at first sight, but not everything is. And if it is, you're still going to want to know the details, no? Or you just think maybe this love at first sight is all I need to see. Then we walk in blinded, all right? So we don't want to do that. But what real love looks like is real love is less like fireworks, okay? So and more like a house being built. So consider it like that. It really takes a lot of time, patience, honesty, forgiveness, responsibility, teamwork, and that's when real love shows up. It shows up not with the things that don't show up, but with the things that show up like this when you're sick. You ever wondered if you're with someone why you didn't make it, why it didn't work out? You may have been compatible, but they made you believe that. There's a lot of tricksters out here and trickery and stuff like that, and narcissists and people that claim to want you to hear everything you want to hear. They know how to do it. And I've seen that done. But real love shows up only when, for instance, when you're sick, were they there? When you were stressed, were they there? When you were broke, were they there? When you're annoyed, were they there? Like when you're broke, when you had child support payments, did you hear from that person? I don't think so. Because usually when someone's in a relationship with someone else and they have issues, they don't want to be a part of that issue, which is smart. but don't tag along waiting until the person gets built and has their thing going on. Now the child support payments has stopped, and now you want to talk, oh yeah, now we got something great, I want to get together, I believe this is something I've been looking for a long time, I really love you now, and things like that. No, because there's tricksters out here that do stuff like that, female and male, not just females, males too. When you were annoyed, were they there? When you wasn't all dressed up, you weren't pretty that day, you didn't look yourself, were they there? When you're not entertaining them, were they there anyway? That's when you know the real question comes. Okay, that's where the real question comes. Do they still choose me when life isn't cute? Because anyone can choose love. The vacation version of you is always going to be what's important here, is because anybody can choose and can love the vacation part, version of you, which sounds beautiful, it looks beautiful. Then when the vacation's over, they're gone. Real love loves the bad hair day, the bad moods, the bills due version. They're okay with it. It's not going to have them absent, but still in the background somewhere, leaking around, watching you, and you don't even know that they were always there the whole time. They're just watching if your pockets got bigger. That's not love. Love at first sight versus real love comparison. All right, I'm going to tell you what it says. It says, I'm going to start with love at first sight. What people say, I feel something, but real love doesn't say that. It says we built something. All right, so I'm just going to give you the comparisons here, a few of them, what I figured out and what I bring together here because I thought it was important. Love at first sight says you complete me. Okay, now listen, that's love at first sight. But real love says we support each other. Okay, very important. Love at first sight says you're perfect. You always hear that stuff from whether it's a male or female. But real love says, I see your flaws and we work through them together. We can work through them together. They'll let you know of your flaws as they don't mind it. But when you oversight and you play into someone, you got to be very careful of people that play that game too much. Because everything you see, there's going to be flaws in everyone. We're not perfect. So if they can handle your flaws, then they're good. If they can't, then you're going to know they're not for you because they were there for love at first sight. Now, another love at first sight is I can't live without you. Who can't live without somebody? You can. You lived without me when I didn't know you. You was born by yourself. I mean, come on. So real love is I can live without you, but I choose life with you. And that's really a big difference when it comes to real love versus love at first sight. And so a lot of people, we put a lot into love at first sight and not look at what it really details. So we don't know true love. Some of us has never had true love. Some of you may never will because you can't decipher the difference between a fake love and a real love. Okay, and it's hard to say that, but I have some videos there, and then it starts with my series on relationship series, so go look them up, and there's different types of topics for on relationships. So this is just another on relationship with this topic, love at first sight. And like I said, I believed it was needed for the summertime because that's when we get all hotty toddy and we're going out there when you're single and doing whatever. Just be careful out there, folks. All right, it's no longer like it used to be. Everyone's out there to make money off of you, not you make your own money. And they want to take it and move forward with someone else with it. That's what's wrong. And let's talk about the modern dating problem, all right? Today, people want the movie version, yes or no? Don't they? They look at novelas. Those are the Spanish novelas and dramas. Lifetime, I'm going to add that right now. And they think, and not all Lifetime, but most of them with the true love stories, they want that instant connection, that instant loyalty, that instant commitment without earning it. Make that make sense? I don't know. But they don't want the boring parts because real love has boring days, okay? And that's what it is, real love. Real love has boring days. It's not always going to be fireworks. It's not always going to have everything you're looking for that you see in a drama or on a novela. Real love is, did you eat? Did you get home safe? I handled that problem because I knew you had enough going on. You know, when your partner can say all these things, did you eat today? Did you get home safe? I handled that problem for you because I know you had enough going on at this time. It's not good morning, beautiful, followed by disappearing for days, okay? Because you can be nice like that, but then you don't hear from them. That's not what true love is. That's not love at all. That's a subscription services with bad customer service or bad customer support, right? And that's the danger of falling in love with a feeling. Sometimes people are not only who they say they are, but not in love. They're not in love with a person. They're in love with the way that person makes them feel. That's it. They love the excitement, the attention, the chase, the fantasy, the idea of being chosen. Who doesn't want that? But then when you're looking for things, you can't sit there and think that the idea of being chosen is all you need. No, no. This is what they're in love with, the idea of being chosen. And since they're chosen, God forbid if they're not chosen, let me let you know. That's another story. Because when you look at feelings, feelings are powerful and feelings can also be very misleading. So that part is what we need to understand when we do our life, when we living life out here and trying to find love, whether it be true love or just be with somebody. Love at first sight is kind of, I've seen it, but it's not for everyone. Not everyone's going to be really love at first sight. It may seem that way in the beginning, but not all the time. Because a person can make your heart race and still be the wrong person in your life. So that's what we need to move forward with it. Sometimes they're not going to be the person for you and we can get over it and move on. And some people can't get over it and move on. That's why we have a lot of psychopaths, needy people, Lifetime stories, novellas too. You know, you got both sides. So you get people that end up in the courts with order of protections, temporary and then permanent. So it's no joke, you know, if they're not chosen and things don't work out and they thought it was love at first sight, you got to be really careful. Take your time, people, take your time. Because just like a roller coaster can make your heart race too, but no one's trying to marry a roller coaster, right? Yeah, because roller coasters do make your heart race as well as first sight. Okay, meeting at first, love at first sight. It's the same thing. It's the same kind of feeling, but we don't want to marry the roller coaster, right? So the first date is always the trailer, all right? Not the whole movie. People may make decisions based on a trailer. Have you ever seen one of those, the trailers that they put out before the movie actually gets there? The smile, the charm, the confidence, the chemistry, and they think this is it. But every movie trailer shows the best parts. That's it. You're not going to see the rest of it until you indulge more, right? Until that trailer, the movie comes out. That's when you get, it's the same thing in relationships. Nobody puts the boring scenes in the preview, okay? And that's the truth. So the first date is like the highlight reel. The real movie is how did they handle this? How do they handle disappointment? You got to find these things out. How do they handle money? Very, very important. How do they handle stress? Also important. How do they handle being told no? Because, you know, I've been with where you can't say no to someone. Oof. Yeah, that's hard. Yeah, I've had that in my past. Well, no is no, fellas. And the same for you girls. No is no. That's when the real character shows up, though, when these things come into the playground. Handling money, handling stress, not being able to be told no. That's when real character shows up. So basically, I guess I should say it to you because it's the same thing. I think when we vote for people in public office, we should vote for their character, not their race. Or what do you think you can get out of them and this and that? If their characters have a lot of flaws, then yeah, I don't vote for people whose characters have been bad in the media and on TV. No, And I suggest we do the same when we're dating. The characteristic of someone is very important, and we need to look at person's character. Yes, they can lie it out, but how long can you hold a lie? You must be really good. You must be a narcissist. If you can go over years and years of the same life, eventually you're going to slip up. So, and that person will be shown. So the bad part is if you've wasted that much time with an individual that finally shows their true face, I mean, now you've wasted your time. So you got to be very careful when you see the person's character. If they haven't been there when your days are the way I just explained, down and out, you needed someone, a friend or something, you're going through your thing, but they bailed out, they're not helping you in any form or manner, they're just in and out, finding out what's going on with you until you good, then don't. Those are the worst ones, all right? The chemistry test I wanted to display this is to ask yourself, do we have chemistry or do we have triggers? Because sometimes the person who pushes your buttons feels familiar, right? And you may say, we have a strong connection, but the connection might not even be there. It might be old patterns, old wounds, old habits. Just because someone feels familiar doesn't mean it's healthy, ladies and gentlemen, folks, whichever way you want to be called. It's not. It doesn't mean just because they're familiar, you knew them for years, or you've been together for years, no matter what. It doesn't mean because they're familiar, it's healthier. Sometimes it's the worst nightmare. All right. And some people have found that out. Eventually, you find that out. Yeah. What was comfortable is no longer comfortable for you. Like you've gone on your own timeline now, and they're not beneath you, because I don't call that about people. They're just not on your level anymore. And it doesn't mean socially more important or have more money. This is on a different level. If you know, you know. And so, because I'm not going to use this show to do that, but I will be bringing some insights and things on how we could go together and learn about these things together. Because I'm still learning too. I'm not perfect, nor do I want to be. I like who I am. And as long as you like who you are and you're a good person, you're kind, and you respect others, you should be all right. But when you're the total opposite, then you need a lot of more deep thinking, self-love, self-awareness to see, is this the kind of person I want to be? Because then I want to treat that person I'm with accordingly, respectfully, honest, be honest, even if they don't like what you say. Why lie? I mean, this is how that person has an advantage. I always say this on every show, to say, look, I don't want to be with someone like you because you're not what I'm looking for. And then you say, good, at least I was real. This way you move on, because I would rather be with a person that's real than a fake. And we got too much fake out here, ladies and gentlemen. So, folks, we can change that narrative if you do it. Yeah, if you do it, we all can do it. If I can do it, we all can do it. So the social media love effect is one of the most interesting things, because I see that people see couples online and think they found perfect love. Sometimes you can look at those entertainers and think they found perfect love, or anyone, but social media shows the vacation pic. It doesn't show the arguments, the stress, the compromises that were made, the conversations after hurt feelings. It's not going to show you all of that. All right, so let's get off the drama and the social media drama, TV dramas. It's not going to be what you see. And your own relationships should be teaching you that. You should know the lessons from them. If you haven't learned, then you will eventually, and it will get harder and harder until you do. And if you have learned them, kudos to you all, because I know I have. Congratulations. That's good. You've grown. You're growing up. You found self-awareness, self-love. You care about yourself, self-care. This all comes together. Because you're not going to let just anyone take your heart and do whatever they want with it, right? I know I would never. When I was single, I made sure of it, and now I don't have to worry anymore. But with that being said, it's not about me. It's about you guys, because I always make my show about everyone else. This is not about ego. like we see around the world where it's about me, 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 me. But anyway, the conversations after her failings, people don't talk about this stuff. People compare them behind the scenes to somebody else's highlight reel. So you're looking and you're thinking, oh man, they have it great. And you never know what they're dealing with. Because the heart always says, order the special, right? And then the brain says, read the warning signs first, okay? The brain is going to outdo the heart because the heart is going to give you what you think is easier when the brain makes it complicated. It's more complex, but it's going to be better for you, right? And also I wanted to bring here, beware of the red flags. And I'm going to give you, I think I have 9 here today. Now, these 9 red flags, I wish I had gotten 10, but I couldn't think of anything else at the moment. And I wanted to get this done and taped because of the holiday weekend coming up. Like I said, the United States is going to be celebrating its 250th birthday, and I will be as well. So I will not be live Saturday, as you see now on this video, but I will go live because I'm not going to be, I won't be live on this Saturday, but I will be live on next Saturday's show. And I hope you all join me there. But I wanted to discuss between, and please like, share, and subscribe. Beware of the red flags. I have 9 here. So number 1 of the red flags that you're going to look for, ladies and gentlemen, because there's no gender here when it comes to people that are tricked and manipulated. It can be any sex, okay? Female or male. All right, so the first one is if you're always the one fixing everything in a relationship, you call first, you explain everything, you forgive everything, and you apologize first. At some point, you have to ask yourself if you're really in a relationship or running a customer service department, because that's how I ran my relationships, not ran my show. When I was dating, I was like, look, this is not what I want. And I get out of it. It's simple. I leave people alone. I don't sit around watching them on social media. I could care less. I practically, I was married before and didn't even know my husband when he saw me on a bus one day. I was like, I'm not interested. I'm over you. I mean, God bless you. I'm glad you have a good life. I don't even remember you, dude. I mean, that's me. I love myself because if I wasn't like that, who sits around with revenge and I'm going to get back at them and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that kind of thing? And with all this stupidity going on in the world, that people, you can tell their self-esteem is really not good. And that's what's sad. So you got to be careful if you meet those type of people. And with all the bad things that they're doing behind the scenes that you don't even know, that's going to be another show. I'll let you know on that one. But at some point, you have to ask yourself if the relationship is running a customer service department, okay? And you need to ask yourself these things because it really is important. Another red flag, number 2, is do they love your attention? Do they love your attention, not you? Okay, just for attention. Do they want you for attention? Because you give them attention. Some people don't miss you. They don't. They miss your compliments. You're always giving them energy, your help, your availability, and their ego is so huge. You probably see their head uh, inflate. I mean, that's the ego. They don't miss you. They miss those things. That's it. You get a lot of people like that in the real world. I've seen it before. I've seen it in the courtroom. And I'm like, wow, that's something. Because like I said, we're going to see every relationship because you bring it there. So I'm going to bring it to my content without saying who it is and what it is, because it's a general, natural thing that happens in most relationships. So I figured, why not bring them here, right? All right. So they don't miss the responsibility of loving you is what it is. So be careful with that. And then we have number 3 here. They keep you secret. Now, I don't like people that keep me secret. If it ever happened, do you? I don't think anyone likes anyone that keeps them a secret. Now, there's a difference between privacy and secrecy, though. Privacy says we don't need the world involved. So that I don't mind. But please don't let anyone know you exist is a different thing. I wonder. If you feel hidden, that's actual information. So Think about that when you are not, you would need to know by these last two I said. If you feel hidden, that's information. The information I just gave you was privacy says we don't need the world involved, but you're not actually hidden, right? But the other statement, please don't let anyone know that I exist in your life. Now that is something you need to look into. All right. Why is it? Sometimes people are dating multiple people and they tell you, no, you're the one. You're the only one for me, babe. And then yet they're multiple or even just one person. They're not with you. They don't miss you. These are the things we need to show up for and say to myself, well, I respect myself enough to say, I'm not going to allow someone to do that to me, or stay single if you don't know. Learn how to love yourself first so that you can learn these techniques before you go out there, because there's real tricksters in the male and females. So it doesn't matter. The thing is that you are able to articulate and decipher what in a relationship is real and what is not. And so we're going to move to number 4. They only apologize to end the argument. So if someone, that's a red flag. They only apologize to end an argument. It's not a real apology, right? A real apology sounds like, I understand what I did and I'm going to change it, right or wrong. A fake apology sounds like, I'm sorry you feel that way. And that's how they leave it. The translation here is, I want this conversation over. So if you've ever been in a conversation and they say, I'm sorry you feel that way, they don't care about your feelings. It's about their feelings, and they just want to end that. Because even though we like to end arguments because it's not good for you, we need to come to a resolution where we understand each other, right? So if someone is saying, basically, I'm sorry you feel that way, they're ending the conversation because they don't want to discuss it with you. You're not worth it. You might as well start feeling that way, because if you feel that you're not worthy and worth it, it's time to pull your energies out and move forward. There's someone out there for you. You're not going to be alone unless that's what you choose to. But you want to be alone with the right person, right? And then eventually, if you feel like it, you all could get married. Wouldn't that be beautiful? But then that's up to you. Not everyone's into marriage, but you know what? There's not much going on out there outside of it. But, that's my opinion anyway. So, red flags. Number 5. Fast love, fast promises. Now, this is the one that everyone most likely have been through, where you get that fast love, fast promises because of the love at first sight, right? I've never felt this way before. I know you're my soulmate. We should get married. And then 3 weeks later, you don't even know how they live or where they live. How are you planning a marriage? Make that make sense. I mean, intensity is not always intimacy. Sometimes it's just speed. It's running. It's moving too quick, and you're not even noticing it. It's nothing about the heart beating, those flares you see behind me. That's racing, the heart racing. It's not about that. Sometimes it's just that they're speeding it up to make you think and assume that that's what it is for you both. So that's another red flag. And so red flag number 6, they only love the easy version of you. They love you when you look good, you're happy, you agree with them, right? You're convenient. Yeah. But when you have an opinion, now suddenly you change. Of course you changed. I didn't change. I just stopped being a mirror. You stop being a mirror for them. That is important. Once you stop that, they really don't know what to do with themselves later. But red flag number 7 is confusion becomes the relationship. If every day you're asking yourself, now I said this before, but maybe a little different in my other videos on relationships. Do they like me? Are we together? What are we? If you're asking yourself those things, that's a problem. Love shouldn't feel like you're taking a final exam every morning, okay? No, that shouldn't at all. So that's a big red flag. So we're going to red flag number 8 now. We're almost countdown, just like the countdown to July 4th. They want the benefits without the responsibility. A lot of people, that's another red flag, where they want the benefits without the responsibility. They want your attention, your loyalty, your time, your body, your support, anything that they can get. But when you need something, they disappear. That's a bad red flag. That's not a relationship, basically. So I'm sorry to tell you folks, that is not a relationship. If you're in one like that, you're not in a real relationship. You're just there. You're just the placeholder at this time. And so that's not good. No one wants to be someone's placeholder, okay? And number 9, I believe this is my final red flag for the day. They always look for sympathy. And I've seen this in, when I dated before, when I was young, I didn't date much because I didn't think that there was any interest for me with certain people, because I think, okay, I don't just jump. I'm not desperate. I can be alone. I have no problem with that. So I used to always hear the sympathy roles. I can't, not the roles, the, people that always talk about this and that. Like, I'm going to explain. I had a rough childhood. They had a rough childhood. They didn't mean to. They were stressed, things like that. They were abused by an ex. They didn't have good relationship with exes, etc., etc. All these sad tales sometimes is to lead you in, like, when you go fishing, your bait. Okay, sometimes that's what it is. Not all the time, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not gonna say all the time, but most of the time you're bait. So that's how they bait you in, with their sympathy. Now that they told you all of this, basically, I notice when you're ignoring these red flags, that same person that says these things about how they were stressed out because before you, they used to get treated like this or that and this, but then they treat you the same way. I mean, you didn't get hurt enough, did you? Because why would you want to hurt other people? I'm just saying, make that make sense. So the thought here is that the biggest red flag is ignoring the red flags because you want the story to have a happy ending. Maybe the best relationships are not, okay? Maybe the best relationships, the happy ending may not happen for everybody, but maybe the best relationships are not, I knew immediately. Love at first sight. Maybe they are, I learned who you were and still chose you. You know what I mean? Those are the things that make sense. It's not going to always be that the best relationships or I knew immediately when I saw you, but I learned who you were and I still chose you. Now that's a better relationship than I knew immediately, because you don't know a person. How you can have love at first sight, but after that and you feel it's real, then you go and you say to yourself, let me see if it's real. Let me get more in here, experience or knowing this person, rather than just jumping to conclusions, right? And it's really important that you don't jump to conclusions with anyone. So in closing, I just wanted to say love at first sight doesn't tell you about a person, right? You should know someone before you fall for them, seriously. Because real love is taking the time out to know one another, to see if the love at first sight is real, because it won't be for other people, okay? It's just the attraction. And because attraction starts the conversation, how you don't want to find someone who makes, if you don't find someone who makes your heart race, okay? Find someone who helps your heart rest. That's important. Because attraction, like I said, starts the conversation, but don't find someone who just makes your heart race. Find someone who helps your heart rests, okay? That you know you're going to have peace with, and not drama. And that's real talk. So I'm glad you came here on this video. I want to see you guys next week. Thanks for showing up. IAAH Radio Plus, thank you. Bringing you the truth and nothing but the truth on Know Your Truth Real Talk with me, your host, Judge Desire for Knowledge is adjourned. And I will see you guys next week. Know Your Truth Real Talk. I'm going to bring in, what is the name of it? Games people play. It's going to be a hot topic. So come back here and check that out. Like, share, subscribe. Tune in on IAAH Radio. That's it'sallabouthouse.com, and get some good house music. And if you want to hear other genres, there's IAAH Radio Plus. That's where you find my channel and other genres of different things 24 hours a day. Thank you, DJ 5am, the CEO. Thank you to all the beautiful DJs out there on that channel for supporting me and checking me out and tuning in. Go check out the best DJs in town. DJ Buggin' Hard, he's on every Tuesday. There as well on IAAH Radio, on Facebook, Twitter. You can check him out on all things, okay? He's also a good DJ. So thank you for taking the time out with me, the host with the most. And when I say that, that's because I'm doing grilling with JudgeDesire for Knowledge, Know Your Truth, Real Talk, Court Affairs. I'm out and about, and I'm out and about travels. And if you want to know what that's about, the videos are up and go check them. I have also released some shorts you might want to see. But I just want to say happy birthday to the United States. Happy 250th birthday, America. And I hope you all enjoy and have a safe, blessed holiday weekend. As I said, I'll see you next week. Please don't show up in the courtroom. I hope I'm not in that courtroom. If you're in New York, please don't show up, because they will be arrested. You won't have no fun then. Don't drink and drive, okay? Have some Uber take you, and make sure they didn't drink and drive either. Just have a good time. Life is too short. Things are really harsh out here. As we lift up prayers for Venezuela, Japan, California, Puerto Rico, all the places that were hit. If I'm missing one, sorry. But we'll keep them in our prayers as we enjoy our 250th birthday. We'll keep them in prayers, right? That's something that I have to do. And I share that with you all. So thank you for having me. I'm JudgeDesire for Knowledge. And check me out on all social media. Like, share, subscribe, follow me there. And I'll see you next time. All right, mi amores. Blessings to you all. See you next week, y'all. Happy 4th of July. Oh. I did not. All right, sorry about that. My fireworks wanted to go on. Isn't it beautiful, bird? Yeah, that's what I'll be doing this weekend. Stay safe out there, guys. Ciao.